Well, the biggest obstacle or challenge is the lack of the equivalent of MRI, where we can have a full transparency of all the country's nuclear activities. We do use a lot of technology. We do satellite imagery, we do environmental sampling analysis, we send our people on site to do an inspection. But of course, we're still far away from the kind of full transparency that is afforded by a machine like MRI or CAT scan. Well, we still also have the challenge to know what people are designing and planning for. So there's always a challenge, but I think as technology moves, we are in a better shape to provide assurances about a country's nuclear activities. I think it's very clear that we would like to eliminate all nuclear weapons in the world. I mean, I was in New York last week. This was my message, and I had a meeting, just happened, Henry Kissinger and I, where we're both addressing the same urgent need, that we need to work to free our world from nuclear weapons because they carry with them the seeds of the annihilation of our entire planet. For two reasons, because I love what you're doing and from an artistic point of view, and secondly, because I think it brings to the attention of the public, the importance of the work we are doing and the danger we are facing, and the more people are aware of that, the better secure world we could have. Well, it has all the meaning in the world for me, because that's what our work is all about, full transparency. So the motive of transparency, is something this is our elusive hope. We would like to continue to work until, as I mentioned, have the equivalent of MRI. Well, print media is very important. These issues require public attention. Civil society is key for us to move on issues like nuclear disarmament, safe nuclear power reactors, and the more that the print media talks about these issues, explain them to the people, make them active in expressing their point of views, pushing their government to move into the right direction. I think that's key. I mean, I come now to realize that government are just one actor, but more and more civil society is the key to move us on major issues like climate change, like arms control, like HIV/AIDS. On all these issues, much more than government is needed, and the print media, of course, has a key role to play. They have to read newspaper because it is not sufficient just to get the news. You need to understand, what's behind the news. I mean, and that's what really the printed media is all about: analysis. Analyzing the event, explaining why it happened. What is going to happen after that. How could we prevent it, for example, or how, if it is a bad thing, if it is a good thing, how can we repeat it? So, rigorous analysis is key and much more important than just having the news out of context. I mean, you put in the media, a responsible media, a printed media, has to put the news in context, unvarnished, and with good analysis, intellectual analysis, and look at the big picture. And that's all what young people need to know if they become responsible citizens, and if they really want to live in a world that is at peace with itself. Well, I'm not sure I'm a clever mind, but if you ask me the question, I would like to say that you have to get all the information you get. There's a humongous amount of information, so you have to choose also about the kind of information you have to access. Then you have to have your own independent analysis. That is very important. Then you have also to take the time to reflect on it. And before you make a decision, and you always have to look at the big picture and understand that any solution you come up with in whatever areas of human activities has to be fair and equitable. If it is not, if it smacks of discrimination, it is never durable. Well, my wishes for the future of the world is to come finally to the realization that we are one human family. You know, when I see that 40% of the world population live under $2 a day, when I see that we continue to rely on nuclear weapons, you know, for our survival or in fact self-destruction, when I see that we see people dying everywhere in civil wars, without us preventing that. These are, I think, what I would like to see is a change of the values by which we live by. I think the values we live by as an international community right now are skewed, are distorted. And we have to continue to revisit these values. And as I mentioned, we need values based on the right of every human being to live in peace and dignity and in freedom. And I think if we have that, if every human being is able to live in peace and dignity and freedom, then we finally have peace, and we will have a world at peace with itself.